meeting is being recorded.
Right. Good morning, everybody, and thank you all for attending the today's Restaurant News Networking Group. We are a group of vendors in the restaurant industry who are experts in our field, and we are here to help each other and to help restaurateurs who may have a problem or difficulties or a question they'd like to ask us, and we'd be happy to help you out. We have two new people with us today. We have Robin Lipnak, and we'll get right back to you in a minute, and Rick, give me your last name.
Hey, Howard, Giambanco.
Okay, so real quickly, we're gonna go to Robin. Just tell us who you are, what you do, and then we'll go back to Rick.
Okay, good morning. Thank you for having me today. My name is Robin Lipnak. I have a business development company based in South Florida that I work nationally. Companies hire me when they don't want to hire a full-time business development person. And I make all the connections, build the relationships, most importantly, do all the follow-up and make sure that business transacts between the parties. I'm in technology, healthcare, financial, hospitality, food and beverage, and real estate and sports right now. So it's very busy. I have a lot of connections. The main reason why I'm here is I represent a company called 32 Degrees out of Miami, and they do chef prepared meals out of their kitchens in Miami that are delivered to homes and B2B all over from Palm Beach County to South Miami. We're looking to connect with boutique hotels, especially for snacks, for lunch, dinner, room service, and even feeding employees. We're also reaching out to the senior market. We have salt-free meals. They are delicious. You pop them in the microwave, and in 5 minutes, you have a really gourmet meal. We have, beef, chicken, sides, all different types of soups, and you have a lovely meal in 5 minutes. So, and then real quickly, I represent a company called Clear Lake Financial. If anybody is looking for working capital for equipment for restaurants, commercial build outs, we're closing on a couple of franchise restaurants at the end of the month. And then I also represent Augusta High Tech, one of the top 20 US software and app engineering companies, creating apps and software very deep into Web3 and metaverse. And one of my clients that I brought them was the Boca Raton Hotel and Resort. So we're doing all of their, apps and software and artificial intelligence. So there's a lot more, but I won't take up any more of your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Rick, good morning.
Good morning, Howard. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for having me again. Rick Giambanco with Premier Solutions. We are a full cost reduction company. We help businesses save money by renegotiating their monthly expenses without having to change vendors or sacrifice quality. So renegotiating exactly with their existing vendors, from utilities to software to telecom. I know there's some restaurant folks here, so their uniforms, even down to Cintas, right? Their soaps. So in other words, their operating cost, right? We avoid the frustrating process of high cost and the poor customer service. So we'll be an in-house team with one motivated agenda: help the business pay less. Thanks for having me.
Okay, thanks for coming.
All right.
Before we start our intros, before our introductions, there's really no need for you to worry about taking names and telephone numbers and everything, because at the end of the meeting, I will send everybody a spreadsheet with all the contact information of all the attendees here today. So you'll get that by email. Before we get to the intros, Terry and I this week went to the FRLA Summit meeting at the Hard Rock Hotel and Casino, and I think I think they had one last year, but I didn't go, and this year they were back at full steam. It's a great event. Lots of people were there. A lot of companies had booths as you entered. One of the members of our 11 o'clock group, Heartland, was a major sponsor, and they were the first booth there, and all the badges that everybody wore said Heartland. But anyway, there were some featured speakers at the Grand Ballroom luncheon on what was it, Wednesday, and the first speaker was the president of the FRLA, was Carol Dover, and then Senator Marco Rubio was there, and the lieutenant governor spoke, and I don't know her name, and then the featured speaker was Robert Irvine from Restaurant Impossible, and he spent a lot of time there that day. He was there through 8 o'clock in the evening. But the reason I'm giving you all this information, a lot of the things that they spoke about, I thought that we should at least be aware of and talk about today. So I'm going to let Terry sort of summarize what they spoke about, and then we can discuss it, because I think it's really important to what we are doing in our businesses and the future of our businesses. So Terry, why don't you just give us a recap of what they talked about?
Yeah, I'll do a quick synopsis. And first of all, you had to be a FRLA member to even be able to buy the tickets to get in. And this high-end event was the governor, and spoke mainly, very important. And if you were sitting there listening, and he speaks kind of fast, but his concern and what he's
talking about, the senator?
I'm sorry, Senator Marco Rubio. I apologize for that. Good grief.
I thought I fell asleep for a minute.
No, thank you. And he said that the main thing is, and it was kind of scary, he said nothing will go back ever to the way that it was in the industry and in other industries. He was speech was very dominating on keeping employees. And we got a little taste of that last night when we went to a restaurant, speaking to the owner of the restaurant. But the employees are basically telling the employers what they will and will not do, and demanding $20, $30 an hour is what Mr. Rubio was saying. And he said, how on earth can anybody survive paying $20, $25 an hour to a dishwasher, to a busboy, to a waitress? And they're saying, I'll be in tomorrow, I'll be in the next day. This industry is in need of, how did he put it? He said, it's never going to go back to the way it was. And he was very, very dominating on that. And he said, do not expect it. Just do not expect it. The world has changed as we know it. It'll never be what it was. So you have to come up with ideas. You have to come up with marketing ideas. And you also have to come up with ideas for your employees to retain them. There are a couple of very good chains out there. Probably the best, and I believe he brought this up, fast food chain that retains their employees is Chick-fil-A. They offer a very family-oriented plan. They pay quite a bit, and they're extremely loyal to their employees. Another one is Texas Roadhouse, where they treat you, every employee in there smiles and is happy to wait on you. You can ask any of them their secret and they will tell you. So coming and going.
Didn't Robert Irvine say that the benefits package for a restaurant worker?
Yes, I hadn't gotten to him yet.
Okay,
yeah.
All right, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. You can. Chef Robert Irvine, who's a celebrity chef and has his Restaurant Impossible show that we do watch, was very he was given very tough questions by 3 restaurant owners. And it was a question and answer session. And they really, really let him have it. And he bounced right back like a shining star. And he said, like Howard was just saying, you have to come up with more money per hour. You're not going to like this. And he looked at Carol Dover and he said, you're not going to like this, but they don't care about the packages. They don't care about retirement right now. They don't care about insurance. Pay them the $20, $25 an hour. If they want insurance, they'll go get it. If they want a retirement package, they will set it up. Give them the cash, because right now they can't feed their families. So it was a very, you know, as you're sitting there eating this wonderful buffet luncheon, your hearts are just filled with thinking about these people that are even serving you there. But it was a very, very enlightening session. And I can post some of it on Facebook, but the main take from the whole thing was this industry is in trouble unless we make a change. And that came from pretty much everybody up there. And a lot of the aliens that are coming in, and the lieutenant governor, she spoke about that. And she said that the aliens that are coming across the borders are willing to work for basically nothing, and people are hiring them. So they're basically, and she admitted they're hiring illegal aliens to work, to do jobs that others won't do. And you know, and then stopped, took a breath, and then looked around. So, you know, if they're going to work for $10 an hour, $8 an hour, and will do anything somebody tells them, that's who they're going to hire. And they'll take the chance, the restaurant owner,
because they're grateful for the job. They'll do whatever the employer tells them to do.
Yeah.
The people who are not working and trying to get back into it, they seem more emboldened. They seem more entitled, they think.
Well, they've taken other positions also, so.
But that's nothing new. I mean, if you look at all your landscapers and so on, half those crews are illegal aliens or more.
Yes, yes.
And have been for almost ever.
Oh, always, because who else is going to put on hot clothes like that in the sun all day long, 100 degrees, and sweat to death? They're just not going to do it. And that's what makes other countries a lot tougher than we are sometimes. And I always bring that up. I go, you know, can't sit in a chair, watch TV and eat your snacks while other people are doing push-ups in 100-degree desert weather. You've got to get out there and be a little bit stronger, or, you know, period.
Yeah.
So
Terry,
that was the take on the summit.
Just to add what you were saying, and hi, Rick, it's good to see you again. Rick and I had a conversation this week. We had our one-on-one, and
which Rick? We got 3 of them.
You gotta be specific, Bruce. There's 10 of us.
Rick from Bitpoint. We spoke for about an hour, and we had a very similar conversation about how the world has changed, particularly for restaurants, because they always wanted to pay their employees as little as possible, no benefits. Chris knows that has changed. Employees are looking for benefits. And the other issue is, it is not just restaurants. It's everybody.
It's everyone.
And you know, larger companies, they get it. And if you're competing with a Nike that has 40 different employee benefits, including tuition reimbursement, which is very important to a lot of people out there. And by the way, it doesn't have to cost a lot of money. If you want a really good, talented, knowledgeable employee, you should want to help them to gain more knowledge and to better themselves. And there's no better way than helping them pay for their schooling. And it usually comes back in spades. So, you know, a lot of this stuff isn't rocket science. It's just sitting down and making that a priority, as opposed to, you know, what's coming out of the kitchen and you know, do I have the staff to handle all of the tables, and because that's what they're doing right now. They're more focused on trying to run their business than and in many cases the business is running them.
Right.
Well, like
Instead of-
Robert Irvine said, you can't, the mom and pops and a lot of the smaller franchises cannot afford $20 or $25. They can't do it. They'll shut down. They
Yeah.
can't
That's
do
right.
it. The cost of food is insane. You can't get a lot of the dishes that you want. A lot of the food products are still sitting in the middle of the ocean. So you're, even your POS systems, your chips that you need to fix or build a new system, by the time that we start making it, it's going to be quite a while. So they were very, very, and since it was a restaurant summit, that was the conversation topic.
Yeah.
But yes, it is every industry, it's not just
Yeah.
them. But they
Well-
can't afford it. They can't afford $20 an hour per employee. They can't do
Yeah.
it.
Terry, can I jump in here real quick? I work with a chain, Dunkin' Donuts. Everybody knows about Dunkin' Donuts. I've been working with this guy for about 4 years, and he has Dunkin' Donuts on military bases. So we're talking about paying your employees because it's on a government installation. He has to pay them a minimum of $15. Okay, $15. Whether they're the good employees or not, he's got to pay them $15. So what he had to do, I guess, I usually just get regular coffee at Dunkin' Donuts, but like, the specialty drinks like the macchiatos and all that, he had to raise that at least $1.25 in order to accommodate for him to make it on that military base in order to cover all of
Right.
his expenses. Okay. So, that's something that the government is implemented, $15 a minimum. He also has some off basis. Okay. So what he has done there in order to get these kids to stay to work at his restaurant, he doesn't pay them $15, $12, $13. What he has done is he's got a bonus program to incentive them to stay. So basically, if you stay a month, he'll take some of the profits from the store, and on your 45 days, you get a little bonus. You get an extra, $15, $20. Then if you stay 60 days, he'll throw a pizza party for these people that have stayed. So, again, we talk about labor as a problem. He tried to hire somebody from 4 to 10 to go deliver par-baked donuts where they come from this commissary. He hired this kid that go deliver these donuts. The kid did it for about a week, comes back, says, man, this is a tough job. All he had to do was, everything was slacked out on these trays or on wheels. All he had to do was go and roll it into their cooler for that next morning to be, baked, whatever, fried. The kid quit and he was making $20 an hour. But the kid thought it was too much of a trouble to take these rollers off the truck. It had a lift. You roll right in there, off you go. And I said to him, I lived in Colorado. I'll pick up an extra job for $20 an hour. But he's getting ready to open up a place in at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base and a couple other locations. But yeah, he says with that government thing, it's kind of hurt him a little bit.
Brian, what you said, hiring people to do those kind of jobs at the show that Terry and I were at the summit, in the exhibit area, and there were, I would say, about 100, maybe less than 100 companies exhibiting there. There
Yeah.
were at least 3 robotics companies
Right.
on the floor, and they let them loose on the floor, and they were walking amongst the people and avoiding, nobody got hit. It's I don't know whether they were directing them from a central location or they were just built that way where they can avoid any kind of obstruction.
They're built with sensors, Howard. So
Yeah, they're
right.
built that way.
it's like your cars today.
Right.
So, but you're right. Automation is clearly going to be one of the solutions.
Like
And
when
that's gonna take
it'll
away
have to be.
jobs also. That's
Like
gonna
what
take
Bruce
away
was
jobs.
saying,
Yes,
that
it
he-
will.
and we talked about this coffee thing. There's a couple faux restaurants up by where I'm at have robotics that bring your food to you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
There's a place near my office, 1,500 square feet, Shoe Man Chicken.
Yeah.
In Davie, a new franchise. They're delivering with robotics. I'm thinking about distributing them. I'm thinking about maybe give one free and I'll get their credit card processing. They're only like $6,000. A piece.
Well,
Yeah,
You know what
Hey,
it
Brian,
is?
you know,
A lot of these restaurants that are putting the robots in, especially the ones I saw at the show, they're really built to look appealing. They're cute. They almost look, like a human figure, and people are going to come to that restaurant, especially with kids, to see the
Yeah.
robot. So whatever they spent for the robot and the money that they're saving on labor and the increase in business short term, it's going to pay for itself.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny,
Brian,
when I,
Riverside Hotel in Lauderdale, in Las Olas, you're using them.
I gotta go see that.
Yeah.
when I was growing up, there was a restaurant called the Hamburger Train. And you would go in there, you'd sit down,
Yeah.
and there was a miniature railroad track with a train on it. And you'd sit there and you'd wait for them to bring you a hamburger. And, the food wasn't that great, but it was cool to watch the hamburger come to you. And, it's gonna be the same thing, I think.
hey, Bruce, have you ever been to the Varsity in Atlanta?
No,
Downtown
sorry.
Atlanta? Okay, so the Varsity Atlanta was one of your original drive ups. So you drive up, you order, and you have these, I guess, these bellhops, or what you would think would deliver the food directly to the car. Those days are gone now.
Yeah.
I mean, but Brian, getting back on your $15 on a military base, it's not just a military base. I live in a military town. It's everywhere. I mean,
Yeah.
my wife sent me to go get dinner at the little small restaurant down the road from the house. And it's just as expensive as going to a sit down restaurant now,
Mhm.
because they're having to pay, and you can't get courtesy. It's like drive around for your total. What happened to repeating the order and telling you the total? And they don't even smile. They don't look, they don't greet you, nothing. They just take your debit card or your cash and they say, next window, please. It's just like, and my prices are going up because somebody has to pay you $15 to $20 an hour.
They don't want to be there. They don't want to be there.
It's
Period.
ridiculous. Guys, I gotta cut loose. I'm in South Florida. I've got an appointment in Wellington and I'm in Boca. So it's a good drive. So I've got to get going. But Joe Cregan, can you give me a call? I want to talk to you about yesterday.
Yeah.
If you had your appointment.
Yeah, I did. We're all set. I should have my new card in about 2 weeks. They said I can't apply for Medicare until February, but I can get my wife on. But I'll wait till I get the card.
Okay, call me.
Yeah,
Call me.
I'll call you.
But everybody have a great day.
All right.
You want to
See
give your intro before you leave?
Sure.
So
My name is. So I'm the first Rick of the group, and
Original.
I came on. What's that?
The original.
The original, yes, I'm the original. And you'll see behind me the greatest stadium in college football. This is Bryant-Denny Stadium, home of the Alabama Crimson Tide, ranked #1 again going into the first week. So I'm happy about that. But I am a independent insurance broker. I help individuals that are coming off group plans and entering into Medicare. I sit down with them, I take their drug list, their doctor's list, and I plug and play, and I find the best plan for them based on the area that they live in. This week, I'm in South Florida, working a business down here at my Florida office, and my main office is based in Huntsville, Alabama, for the new ones here. So I do a lot of traveling. I was telling Terry and Howard yesterday, I can drive 75 in Turnpike now with my eyes closed, know exactly where to get off, because I've done it so many times now. But I'm happy to be here. Annual enrollment is swiftly approaching. So if anybody who owns a business that has employees under them, that they're coming off their group plan for Medicare, have them give me a call. I'll be more than happy to help them out.
Rick, is this
Thank
your
you
own,
for the-
Rick, is this your own company or you work for a major company? Are you independent?
I'm independent. My father, Steve Israel, started this agency 20 years ago,
Mhm.
and we lost him last year to COVID. And so I've taken over the agency, but I was always based in Alabama. So I'm the sole proprietor. I don't have a downline. I'm completely independent. I do it all by myself.
Yeah, I'd like to talk to you about 32 Degrees because we deliver, to seniors and everything, those meals and everything. So that could be, we are working with some insurance companies on that. So I'll get in touch with you.
Definitely appreciate that.
Thank you.
So,
No, appreciate it.
okay, everybody have a great day and take care.
All right, we'll see you
See you,
later.
Rick.
Bye.
Okay. Does anybody have any other thoughts on what we were just talking about before Rick decided to leave, about the future of the industry and what changes we all have to make in order to survive all these changes? I think it's really important to sit down and look at your business and look at what's going on in the world and say, how am I going to fit in? I do this every day. This is something that's ongoing. That's why we try to come up with new services and come up with new items that we can help people out with. I just did something this morning Terry doesn't even know about. If it works out, it could be tremendous for us. So I'll open
I
it to you.
appreciate that.
I'll open it to you guys if anybody has any other thoughts or questions or.
Well, yeah, I just would like to say that I think if we can encourage maybe new operators or experienced operators to take a look around at what's been successful in terms of compensation, which is an area that I deal with every day, and the opportunity to share the profits. And I'm probably the biggest capitalist going, but you look at the companies that share the profits. Chick-fil-A shares the profits. What built Outback Steakhouse? They started 7 years after Longhorn Steakhouse, and they zoomed right by. And nowadays they're still holding steady, if you will. But the opportunity to share the profits, not only with the general manager in the store, but the other managers, the key hourlies, so that everybody's invested in the deal. And it's not a giveaway program, it's an earn away program. Earn away to understanding the power of capitalism, as opposed to, I need to make X amount of dollars per hour. And just keep thinking along those lines, I think makes everybody strong, makes the businesses stronger as well. So
I agree.
You want to do the intros for Robin and Chris?
That's a good idea. As soon as we start doing our intros.
I thought so.
Is that
well, I might have to leave at 10 till, because a client who came to my headquarters, otherwise known as my living room, 2 weeks ago, hired the candidate that they interviewed, and he just called. He's coming through Vidalia. He's not going to stay here for long, about 30 minutes. And he says, I have a check for you. So as we learn in math, a dollar is still a dollar. And so therefore, I'm about 10 till 10. I might have to beg everybody's indulgence.
Why don't you start us off with
All
the
right.
intros and tell us what you do, who you are.
Chris
And
Kaufman.
like I said, Robin, I think you're off the screen. You don't have to worry about writing down all the names and telephone numbers and all that. I'll send an email out at the end.
Okay.
Chris Kaufman, Restaurant Recruiters of America. We specialize in finding talent for restaurants, and we work primarily throughout the Southeast United States on behalf of restaurant companies. They provide us the profile of who they would like us to bring to them, and we work on their behalf. And we whole gamut, everything from, in the short but illustrious 41 years that I've been doing this wonderful profession, we've placed everybody from system managers to CEOs and everybody in between. specifically focusing on the restaurant industry, sometimes dabbling with clubs and hotels, because clubs and hotels love to hire people from restaurants, because restaurant people are hardworking folks. So Chris Kaufman, Restaurant Recruiters of America. And you could reach us at 404 All-Star, 404-255-7827, 404 All-Star.
Thank you. I just want to mention that if any restaurateurs are going to be watching this on YouTube at some point, you can see that based on the conversation that we have here every week, that there are people here with a tremendous amount of experience and knowledge about the industry. We've got hundreds of years of experience all total within the group. So we can help. Just give us a call at or get in touch with us through our website, trnusa.com, or 561-620-8888. Steve Whitehill.
Good morning. Can you let me share the screen? I'm Steve Whitehill. I'm a business broker, and today, like I usually do, I like to talk about something that's available for sale. Today, I thought I'd go over a listing for a restaurant. To me, it's kind of interesting. I hope you'll find it as well. So I'm going to show you the listing first. Okay. And then I'll show you a little bit how the analysis works. So this is a restaurant. It turns out to be in Manatee, Florida. In fact, I know it's in Bradenton, Florida. The asking price is $1 million. And the fact that they're asking for a down payment of $1 million means the seller is not going to give you a loan. So the first thing I look at is what are the sales? I'm sorry? Oh, okay. So the first thing I look at is what are the sales? The sales here are $1.4 million, and the profit on that is essentially $212,000. Now, I do a quick calculation. I do it in my head, so it's not either precise nor accurate, but this is less than 20%. Restaurants tend to make somewhere between 20 and 25% is very typical of their in terms of what they make. Now, notice we call it discretionary earnings, which I like to call as off owner benefit. It's a little more descriptive because this is sort of what the owner actually takes home. So I want a quick look at this. I might look at it and say, I'm not really so sure. By the way, it's a pizza restaurant, an Italian, it seats 120 people. It also has for those of you in Florida, has a 2 COP license, which means it can serve alcohol. It's an 8-year-old restaurant, is owned for 8 years, got 12 employees and 30 part-timers, which means it's got a lot of staff. What's also interesting, the quality of the numbers are based for the most part on tax returns, which is good. And then we have, when I say it's the owner benefit, you'll see that the owner benefit is you start with the net. We add back owner salary, we add back other things as the case may be. So the interesting thing I saw about this restaurant is the guy is selling, the broker didn't display it correctly because he did a part year 22. So when you do an analysis, if you look at 22, it's really not giving you the whole picture. So assuming this is for 6 months, really we're talking about double. And which makes some sense because if you look at 21, they did 2.6 million, and they were nicely profitable. They were over that 20% mark. So this is a better profitability. Now, what I then do this in certain cases, this is one of them. Oh, let me stop sharing this. I want to reshare another screen. What I can do is essentially automate the analysis process in certain cases. This is one of those situations where I can do it. So basically, I put the listing number in, and here's an analysis based on the gross sales of $1.4 million and that owner benefit of $212. And what this shows, that's the red figure. And if you look at the green, this shows it's way overpriced, which is not shocking, but this is on an active listing comparison. If I do that against sold listings, it even becomes worse. So what is interesting, the average restaurant sells for just under 2%, 2 times earnings. But let's see what happens if I do a more realistic scenario and I put this at 2.8. Did I get enough zeros? One more. And I double the earnings to about, let's call it 420. And I resubmit. Let's take a look at that. And now it actually makes it worse, interestingly.
Ew.
It didn't make it better.
Mm-mm.
So, but if I were to go against, oh, I see why, because it really didn't change anything. I don't know why oh, I know why, because it didn't use the updated prices. Sorry about that. Let me put in the update was 2,000,008. So let me do that again. I pushed the wrong thing. And this would be 420 more zero. Update using these prices. There we are.
Okay.
So now it's actually a decent value. So if this is doing something very quick and dirty, doesn't mean that that it's correct. It just means that it's worthwhile looking at, because it may in fact be a good value. And if I put in the 21 numbers, it'll even look better. So, you got to look at these things
Yeah,
carefully.
but Steve, you have the selling price of 400,000. I thought he wanted $1 million.
Oh, sorry. Thank you. I screwed that up. I don't know how I did that. Not 10 million.
That's 10,000.
No, there it is.
Mm.
And now that comes out closer to reality. So now what I see is this thing is priced fairly well. Thank you for pointing that out.
Well, still, now you have it 794.
I don't know what, oh, it calculated what the selling price should be rather than the asking price.
Oh, he's still a little over
Yeah, it's still a little over, but it's really now coming more back into conformity.
reality. Yeah.
Yeah, and the way I do it, I mean, I use this sort of quick and dirty occasionally. It's nice because I can show clients, but I really do it all manually. We have obviously data, and I can exclude real estate, which in this case, since does not include real estate, is kind of important. And notice I've made an adjustment here.
A big adjustment.
Big
Yeah.
adjustment, because some
Yeah.
of the comparables had real estate in them. So you also have to be careful when you do this analysis. But it also, so this is overpriced and it's sort of worth negotiating. It's really worth taking a look at and see what you can really buy it for. Anyway, that's my story. I'm going to stick to it. And that's sort of how I go about the process of determining whether a given listing is useful or not. I hope you found that interesting. And off we go. I'll turn it back to you, Howard.
That was great, Steve.
That's the kind of work that Steve does. He's very qualified to do what he does. He's got a tremendous background with numbers. Typing is not that great, but his numbers are great.
Yeah, and you notice how I have to you notice how I have to do things about 3 times, so it's not terribly unusual.
Well, Steve, one thing that I noticed with the information you were providing, his expenses rose by almost 25%, which I'm going to assume is almost every business out there today. They're looking at their expenses going through the roof.
Well, yes, it's a little hard to tell because the problem with part year is they don't disclose how big a part of the year it is. So I made an underlying assumption that it was 6 months. And the reason I did that, which you can't see, is I have another version of this listing. I know what the restaurant is, where it's located, and so on. And I know that this listing information was posted in August. So I assume they did it through June, but it also could have been through July. It also could have been through May or April. I have no idea. Obviously, if I get into it, I will find all those answers out.
All right.
Sorry, guys, I gotta go, but it was a really lovely meeting everybody, and I'll be in touch. I have a bazillion contacts. I definitely have connections for, some of the people that spoke already. So let's all be in touch with each other and have a wonderful weekend. Thank you.
Thanks for coming, Robin. Hope you're doing
Okay,
good.
Robin.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for having
All right.
me.
Let's move on to Joe Cregan. Good morning, Joe.
Hey, good morning. How are you? I'm Joe Cregan. I'm down here outside Fort Lauderdale in Davie, Florida. My company, Clyde Payment Services, we provide electronic payments, payroll, and point of sale systems to restaurants, retailers. We support about between 700, 750 clients, mostly in Florida here, with Clover POS systems, as well as Fiserv payment processing and ADP payroll processing. So if you know of anybody opening a new restaurant or anybody looking to save money in their credit card processing or make a technology change to automate their point of sale, to speed up customer service, reduce operating costs, or lower labor costs with our integrated payroll processing. Paul Joe at Clyde Payment Services right here in Fort Lauderdale. Thank you.
Thank you. Rick Moore, good morning.
Good morning. My name is Rick Moore, obviously. Bitpoint Business Solutions is our company. Well, I emphasize that because there's so many Ricks here. But Bitpoint Business Solutions is our company. You know, we do energy cost reduction and funding. And I'm a veteran of the industry, the restaurant industry, as a manager, owner, and broker in my history. And my natural progression was to work on companies' P&Ls. And so my focus service here for the group is Bitpoint Funding. We are a revenue-based, not collateral-based funding program. Great clients are independent operators in restaurants and also contractors, whether it be just anybody ancillary to the business. And so bitpointfunding.com is how you can learn more about what we do. It's a completely automated process that takes people through a survey and to the different services we offer. Up to $25,000 in funding is available same day in a lot of cases, and we can do up to $2 million, which takes a little bit more time. We also have credit lines available through the same program. So Rick Moore with Bitpoint Business Solutions, and bitpointfunding.com is the best way to take a look at what we're doing.
Okay, thank you. Bruce, good morning.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Bruce Silver, and the name of my company is Employers RX. And we like to say we're the cure for your employee management headaches. We help businesses find better employees, find benefits for their employees. I work with companies called professional employer organizations, and they basically do the same thing that every small business does. They process the payroll for their employees. They provide workers' compensation, employee benefits, risk management, HR compliance. However, they do it for hundreds of thousands of employees. And if you're a small business and you're trying to do it on your own, you owe it to yourself to find out what a professional employer organization can do for you and how they can help benefit your business. Thank you. I hope everybody has a great weekend. And this is a great group. So if you're a restaurant owner and you're looking for some advice, I highly recommend that you check out today's restaurant news.
Okay, thank you. Brandon Rhodes, good morning.
Hey, good morning, everyone. Glad to see everybody's here. Thanks for having me this morning again. I represent Young Fox. It's a one-stop shop marketplace app for all your food delivery needs or restaurant needs. The exciting thing about Young Fox is that we're seeing a mass exit from third-party delivery companies. And what we're doing is we're connecting the users and the restaurants together. We're supplying the restaurants with the data that these third-party companies don't supply the restaurants with. And what this allows us to do is market directly for that restaurant to drive traffic back to them. So we can save the restaurants upwards of 20-25% per order on the fees that third-party companies charge the restaurant. So we're in the game to help build the communities, build a stronger community, and keep these restaurants in business that have been gouged over the last few years from these sharks in the business. So you can imagine downloading just one app for all those needs and having the ability to compare the pricing, whether the company delivers or not. That's what we do. And we give the power and freedom truly back to the users and the restaurants to be a cohesive partnership between the two of them. So We had a great call on Tuesday with my development team for our beta launch the second week of October. So we had a great demo walkthrough. It looks good. Everything's coming along. Our landing page should be live here in a couple of weeks. I've actually talked to Robin Lipnak in the past. She's part of another networking group I'm part of. So once you get involved with Robin, it's 1,000 miles an hour. Just put a little shout out there for her. She's got a lot of contacts in the game, and she doesn't quit. She just goes full speed. It's kind of amazing. So she's a good contact to have. So anyway, Young Fox, I'm Brandon Rhodes, and I'll keep everybody updated on our progress. Thanks.
Thank you. Nico, good morning.
Morning. Nico Romano with Spiritus Law. We're a law firm. We specialize in the hospitality industry, specifically with alcohol beverage. We do licensing work, anything that has to do with alcohol beverage, tobacco, any sort of regulated, anything that's regulated. If you're starting a restaurant, you want to pick a location, we can help with the due diligence with whether you're able to sell alcohol at that location. What the needs are, we can help you transfer your license. We can help you, do the documentation when acquiring a new license or when selling a license. We work closely with business brokers. If you we can help review your lease, we help with purchasing, purchase and sale. You can do closing and title work. We do all sorts of stuff. We also are, we're in government affairs, so we help write legislation. We helped with the legislation on how to reopen the state of Florida during the pandemic. So we are very much involved, and we're nationwide. So we do all our licensing work is we can do nationwide. We actually do a lot of work with startups up to national companies. So if there's some sort of legal question related to alcohol or beverage or alcohol or liquor, as a, we're here to help. We also do, business law. So anything related to, in the hospitality industry, from, the beveraging side to real estate and business, we can help out with on the legal side of things.
Okay, thank you. Rick G, you want to circle back, and now that you've seen what we do, you want to add anything to what you said before? The floor is yours.
Rick G, I'm gonna go off and say that's me. That's a good nickname for this group, since there's so many
with
Ricks.
with three Ricks, I'm gonna call it Rick G, Rick M, and Rick
The
I.
original Rick, left.
Right.
I'm with you. Well, listen, a great group, a lot of expertise. What I'm getting from everybody is that everybody has a positive attitude. Everybody's trying to contribute to these restaurants in one way or another. And it all ties into cost, guys, as most people have mentioned here. So cost is one of the biggest things for restaurants, right? It's not what comes in, it's what goes out, right? It's what we can keep behind. A lot of restaurants, specifically, we're talking about that, do not know how much they're overpaying. They try to control their cost, they try to budget, but they truly don't know how much money is leaking out. And the fact that we're so successful at renegotiating a better price or helping them save money just goes to prove, hey, they're constantly leaking money, and they just don't have the time to call and say, okay, go layer by layer. So just for anyone that would like to connect, would love to contribute in any way. We'd love to work with some of you guys. I think that there could be some good collaboration, but we're in the industry to help businesses pay less so they can keep their doors open. They can, keep more profits. So Howard, great group. Thanks for having me, man.
No, thanks for coming. And last but not least, Terry.
Hi, everyone. Terry, today's restaurant news. I've been here 26 years. And what I do is the leads report. I tell you who's opening, when, where in Florida. And I have another report for Georgia. The team gets the leads together and ready for me by the 1st of each month. I format them and go over them a bit and get them out by the 9th of each month. unless it's holiday, then it's a little bit later. But we have 40 to 60, 70 new leads, brand new leads every single month. And then we update the leads from the bottom of the red line to now we have the owner's actual personal email address, personal phone number. You don't have to go through all the, stuff to get it. We have licensing information. We go through so many platforms to get you that information that you need. So it is a leads report. We have one for Florida and one for Georgia. Thank you. And thank you for the great compliment, Bruce. Much appreciated on that. Your company's terrific. Steve, that was a great analogy. I loved watching all of that because I learn a lot from when you do those presentations of what something is worth and how you figure it out. And Chris, thank you for coming again. It's always a pleasure to see when somebody comes back. We enjoy that so much. And we do have a great group and it will be better. We keep more people are coming. They call, I was going to be there. I had an emergency. I'll be there next week. So we look forward to all those new people. Brian, thank you for your freeway info. Much appreciated with Rick. I like to know where not to go when I'm driving through Atlanta.
Yeah.
Anyway, have a good weekend, everyone.
Howard, can I jump in here real quick?
Mike,
Go ahead. You forgot me,
Nico.
man.
Did I forget? I'm sorry. Brian, I talk to you every day. It's like
Brian's unforgettable. What, are you kidding?
Go ahead.
No, what I do real quick, I know we're kind of running out of time here, but I work for a company called Rogue Financial Group. Rogue has been around probably about 15, 16 years. It branched out of a company called Yes, which is out of Miami. And what Rogue does is I totally focus pretty much on the hospitality side. What I do is from startups to existing business, I provide commercial financing for all different types of equipment, from the front of the house to the back of the house, signage, furniture, kitchen equipment, things like that. And I work all over the country. So I work from small projects to large projects, franchises, and small independents. So I do commercial equipment financing, and I've been doing it for several years, and I do a lot in the Southeast. So that's what I do.
You do leasing, right?
Yeah,
Leasing. Restaurant.
Well, real quick
about
leasing has changed a lot. Leasing is more like at the end of the lease, you own it. It used to be like fair market value. You still have it around, but fair market value is sort of, it's there, but more likely if you do a 3 or 4 or 5 lease on a piece of equipment or whatever, you own the equipment. You can structure it where it's a fair market value, but most of my clients will want to own the equipment after they pay it off, because a lot of vendors or whoever don't want it back unless you auction it off. One of the key things about equipment financing is there is a UCC filing on that equipment, okay? More or less than if you were to go get a loan from like Wells Fargo and you want to buy, say, $50,000, $60,000 worth of equipment. A lot of times they'll put a blanket lien on everything that you own. But with equipment loans, there's a UCC filing on that. So they don't tie up all your other assets and you can't get a loan for other things. So that's what I do. I'm equipment financing. Again, Brian with Rogue Financial Group.
Hey,
So
thank you.
shouldn't be called like a lease to own?
Well, yeah, it's a lease to own, basically, yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
And for everybody else, I forgot to mention real quick, if you're going to be at the FRLA show in November, we will be in booth 317. We finally got our booth number. So 317.
Okay. This brings an end to our meeting for today. I thank you all for coming. For those of you who are maybe watching it on YouTube, You can see the group is got a lot of information, a lot of knowledge, so take advantage of it. See you all next week. Have a great weekend.
Yeah.
I'll
Have a great weekend, everyone.
keep
You
the
too.
window open.